This is from Kit Hong, and Kit Hong, I think is a guy. How long or short should an email be? Okay, this is an interesting question. The general answer would be, Kit Hong, as long as the email delivers the message, the intended message clearly to the reader and gets the reader to take a specific action. Okay, so that's very general. So let's look at some example. So I'm going to start with short, super short, medium, and to a super long one. Okay, each one has a place to play in depending on the way you write and depending on the audience. So the first one, this is a term or basically a technique coined by Dean Jackson, and he is one of the so-called the original marketer or very well-known marketer, and also a digital marketer as well. Okay, and his method in this case, okay, let's put it in context. He's using this for one, either to reach out to people who have not opened his email, and he's going to basically get them to come back into their newsletters, for example, to engage with his newsletters or whatever emails that he's sending. Second thing is it could be at the middle of a sequence where, let's say, he sends a sequence of 3 or 4 emails, and he may want to slip this one in to actually trigger a response from you. All right. So Dean Jackson's 9-word emails is something like this. For example, are you still looking at growing your blog traffic? So that's all. That's 9 words, or probably less than that. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay. So 9 words, email, and then it ends off. And basically it says, if you're interested, you can reply, or basically it triggers you to reply. Right? So if you do not reply, then maybe he will just drop you off from sending any more emails. All right. Another example is, are you still looking for a new job opportunity in banking? Are you still interested in improving home security, for example? Are you interested in looking your home painted or getting your home painted? Or are you still considering buying a new car, for example? Questions like this framed in a very simplistic manner, designed to trigger a response from you. Okay. So this is super short, right? This is a super short category, and it's generally based on Dean Jackson's method of using the 9-word emails. So you may want to try this, but if you're running a campaign, you slip it in the middle of your campaign, or probably at the end. When they open the email, they have not responded, or maybe they have not opened the email, you can use this 9-word email to send to at least force them to trigger a response. So for example, if I write a newsletter, I may just use this 9-word newsletter, and I know that this person has not opened my emails for the last 45 days, and I'm going to make a decision whether I may want to unsubscribe him or her. I may just write a simple 9-word email and says, hey, no, you have not opened my emails to you. Are you still interested to receiving emails from me? All right. So you don't have to be tied to the idea of just limit to 9, but plus or minus, the drift is one single sentence. Okay, so that's the idea. So that's for the short one. So a middle tier one could be something like our dear friend Neil Patel. All right, he basically addressed the problem, basically do a quick summary of the situation, and then give you a solution, which is either to watch his YouTube video or even to read his blog article. So this is like the middle tier between super short 9-word to something in between with some context to actually get you to take an action. In this case, for example, he'll be talking about how to figure out what to focus in less than 15 minutes on a particular thing, right? So in order to do that, he has to give you some context as to what it's referring to. So that's where the first few paragraphs, and then subsequently the call to action. So this is the middle tier one, which is generally used by almost all of us who does email marketing, all right? And especially if you say, I'm not the type who are very good in storytelling, I just want to deliver my message, you would be using 80% of the email marketers who probably use something like what Neil does. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, right, the extreme end of the spectrum, could be something like somebody like Bill Muller, right? His business is about storytelling, and storytelling even in email form, for example, right? Now, you notice in Bill's case, his email are super long. Okay. Now, the reason why it's super long, because he actually embed a story into the email. Okay. So it explains the story, and eventually in the end, if you notice, it basically links you to a simple CTA. It says, This is what he teach in his story sales machine training. All right. So for context, he basically use a story, use the metaphor, for example, okay, or maybe what he has learned and all, and then link it back into his CTA, his call to action. Now, this one is something that not many people can pull off. The reason why is because you got to have the ability to get the reader to read first paragraph and entice them enough to go to the second paragraph, to the third paragraph, and so on and so forth until you reach the end. So that is not easy to carry out. Sometimes, I don't do that because, my storytelling, I'm still building my skills on that. But generally speaking, unless if I'm inspired, I may, but in most cases, I will avoid doing this unless you have the capability to actually use words to get people to move, like, basically a page turner. All right. So if you can do that, yes. Now, the power of this is by virtue of doing this, you have longer read time. That means the reader is a lot more engaged. And if the person can read to the end, then the chances of the CTA or somebody clicking the CTA will be very, very high. Right. So it is pretty high conversion stuff, but generally not many people can actually pull it off. So for you and I, or normal people, for example, especially if you're starting in email marketing, I would recommend you to stick in the middle for now, build your skill sets after writing, maybe a couple of thousand of emails, and you build that the ability to actually use words and turn it into action. Then you can do something like Bill. Okay. But in Bill's case, even if imagine if you do this for, let's say, for a B2B audience, this may not work, right? Because the audience wants to know the information and what they need to do next, and that's about it. So that's why emails like Neil falls into the middle ground and it fits both B2C and B2B. Bill would be more B2C because it is an individual. So his story has to be able to appeal to that particular individual because he or she should be able to take a decision to buy something from him if it's relevant. Okay. Whereas, on the other end of the extreme, if you write this to your existing audience, makes sense, right? So you can use a 9-word email for your existing audience. So generally in context, big picture is write as long as it delivers the message clearly to the reader. Number one. Number two, gets the reader to take the action that you want them to take. That's as good enough already. All right. The second thing is, if you want context, then you can start with 9-word email or use basically something that most of us do, but 80% of the population or email marketers do, is write, a very relatively short emails to deliver the message, give context as to what he's referring to, and then give them the CTA to act. Or if you're super good in writing, then yes, you can try Bill Muller's method of basically turning stories, linking them into a product that you want to sell or promote, but it's driven by the story. Okay, so that's generally the three things you do. Hi, and thanks for watching. If you need my help to set up your email marketing engine for your business, just click on the link here and you see a list of services that will help you grow your leads and sales and also increase your profits through emails. I'm looking forward to working with you soon.